I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Snellings.
Present.
Ferris.
Here.
Behrens.
Here.
Keating. Eichmann.
Present.
Schrader.
Present.
Rom.
Here.
Baraki.
Present.
8-0, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. We have two proposed items to add to business and discussion tonight. First, it came out in the revised agenda that came out later in the day on Thursday. That's line item 9 on the printed version in front of you, ordinance 1930. It was not officially added to the first version of the agenda that went out, so I asked that it be added here if you want to put it under business and discussion.
Is there a second item?
There is a second if we want to do both. The second one is the city water service issue, also on the dais in front of you.
Move to move both items to the business discussion.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded that these be added as items 9 and 10 under business and discussion. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. 7-1.
Okay, next we have approval of minutes.
Move to approve regular minutes, July 22nd, 24 is written.
Second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
8-0.
Thank you.
Move to approve special meeting, July 31st, 2024 is written.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
8-0.
Thank you. Next, we have public comments. If anybody's here who would like to speak to the council, we have a maximum of 5 minutes. Oh, you're...
I'm here to.
Yeah, he has to speak close to the public.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, he should.
Okay, go ahead, Alan.
Go ahead, yeah.
I'll be under 5 minutes.
Oh, great.
First of all, thanks for everybody for throwing your hat in the ring. I haven't thrown my hat in the ring yet. I thank you, those of you that have. Alan Feldhausen, 1098 10th Road, Marysville, Kansas, Ward 1. My father-in-law is Murdaugh, and I'm here on an emergency request. On Sunday, his water from his well, he borders the city of Marysville. His west lawn matches the east city limits on the north side, on the south side of Highway 36, right across from Walmart. That house, that residence with the big cornfield and the rest of the acreage is where he lives, and he has no water as we speak. We're in emergency mode. And we have been extremely satisfied with the staff of City of Marysville. They've been helping where they can, no special favors. They were there this afternoon again, plotting their plan with 3 trucks and 3 men to recognize the emergency status of this lack of water. We've got Charlie Ohm ready to take off when that pit's in the ground on Mert's property. We've got everything staged to tie it into his well, 3/4 inch soft drawn copper line, and abandon the pump and the entire well forever. This is the first time we've had notification or notice that there was any water issues out there since 1931 when his father and his mother moved him there. I think he was 11. TMI. But anyway, he's 95 next year, so he's without water. So we need the city's continued cooperation, and we'll cooperate fully and comply, pay when due, whatever we need to do, we'll do. And we've kind of been through the process, and we have every intent to sign a content annexation. It's our understanding there's an opportunity to split acreage. We're going to try to, as fast as things are moving, we're going to look into that and find out what our options are and be compliant in requesting to exercise that if it occurs. That's where we're at. We just ask the city to help us out. Mm-hmm. Mert's a good old citizen of this town, and he's 3 times mayor, 2 times mayor, 3 times councilman in his lifetime, I think. So he's been around the block.
Did the well collapse? It just kaput, or?
The well failed. It's been a long time since we've had any discoloration or concern that things were going awry. We lived there for 3 years when we first moved back from Pittsburgh, Kansas, where it was an outpost for my cable experience. And we moved back, and we didn't have any problems with the water in that long ago. He hasn't had any notification until just on Sunday it started trickling, and it finally just stopped, and it hasn't recovered. And it doesn't show any signs of doing so. So it's time for him to request consent to annex and follow the rules. Are there any questions I can answer? Other questions? Other than some of these days I might have a turn at this, but right now I'm doing a lot of other things like family stuff. And we all have that in our lives. So.
They will discuss it
We'll
again.
discuss it here in just a minute.
In business and discussion.
And we can move it up to business and discussion if you don't want to be here all night to
I don't
the
mind.
top of that.
I don't mind hanging out for a while.
Okay, all right.
Thanks for
Thanks
that,
for listening.
Alan.
Thanks, Alan. Okay, is there anyone else who would like to come forward under public comments? Sean?
First of all, thank you for all sitting there. I had the opportunity for, I think, 6 years. I am here because I'm the landlord of 300 North 12th, and we got a weed notice. And I stopped and talked to my renters last week, and they said they would clean the stuff up, of which they have put some effort into it. I don't know that it'll meet the criteria that prevents the city crew from coming out and cleaning it up. So I'm requesting an extension so that I have time to go and not have that expense. So if I could get a 2-week extension or whatever the next council meeting is to go in there and clean that, I'd appreciate that.
Has Will gone and seen how much progress has been made? Do we know?
I don't think he has. I think that one of the biggest issues that had a vehicle with an expired
There
tag.
is a vehicle, and I've
And
talked
that's-
with them on that, and honestly, that's not titled in my name, and so they were going to address that. I will tell you what they told me
Okay,
is, well, it's already tagged, the paperwork's not there. Now,
okay, we can find that out.
I'm not here, I can't dispute what I was told, if that makes sense. I can question, but, I kind of put the ball in their court, and
Okay, so you're just talking the weeds, so when we.
the
it's
weed side of it.
The weed side.
The weed side of it.
Okay.
The vehicle would be theirs.
Okay.
But the weed side,
So we
it
know
said
what we're
something
extending.
about non-ornamental, grasses, and I think a weed eater could be used,
Yeah,
extensively. So they've picked some limbs up, they've picked, I'm gonna call it a picnic table or a basketball goal, some large piece of plastic. They have reorganized and thrown some stuff away. But with proper tools, I think it could look a whole lot better, if that makes sense.
You're requesting an extension, you're gonna do the work?
I will make sure it gets done, I will do the work. I will be quite honest with you. I mow a little bit, I'm a small guy, I do my mowing on the weekends, and I've had a heck of a time this year with the weather and rain and,
Oh, yeah.
I've got things that I'm not proud of, and it's not, but I typically spray once or twice a year, and I've got waist-high grass that I need to spray again, and it's just hard to really keep on top of that with the weather we've had. Now, having said that, as a farmer, I'm all for it, but as the guy doing the work, I'm ready for this summer to be over. So, that's why I'm asking, part of the extension, that when I got this letter, it was when we had that 100-degree weather, and I'm like, I literally drove by. That's the extent of what I did, was to drive by, and I'm like, I am doing nothing.
So the trash is mostly picked up, I believe?
The trash is mostly picked up. There are a few limbs there, and they have been put in a pile. However, there's cracks in the concrete, and there's grass growing up them, and a mower, a weed eater, anything would make them look better. if that makes sense. And I do not know, I know my renters have a mower. I do not know what other tools they would have. And, you know, I hate to say that even a small thing as weed eater string might be a challenge.
Gotcha.
So, you know, I don't have a problem with that, but I was hoping to put the ball in their court. They did participate a little bit, but
Well, I noticed there's quite a pile along the street this morning, so I knew
Yes.
that there was something happening.
they have done some work on it, but I think it could look a little bit better. And, you know, so I'm just asking an extension so I can do it, because I know the city's rates, in my opinion, are right where they need to be, extremely high, so that the landowner takes care of it. And so I don't really want to pay that. I can do the labor myself. So, yeah, that's my request, is 2 weeks or whatever the next council, or what the extension, if I could just get an extension, so that I have opportunity to get to that.
And you just want it for the grass.
For the grass, yes.
Move to allow a 2-week extension on the grass only.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to grant a 2-week extension. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Don.
Okay, is there anyone else who's not on the agenda that would like to come forward at this time? Seeing no one, we will move on to business and discussion items. First up, we have the amendment addition to fireworks ordinance. Ms. Bernita Peaks.
Renita Peaks, Ward 1. I know that the problem I'm talking about also exists in Ward 4. I don't know about the other 2 wards, but anyway. Basically, what this ordinance would do is to say, if you're shooting off fireworks, shoot them off over your own property. Don't shoot them off over somebody else's property. And I checked with the police chief. The need for this is that apparently we don't have any rights to the airspace over our property. So that's why there's a need for something like this to prevent the problem. There's a sample of what I had in my driveway, in the yard, all the way up to the door of the house. Just, I mean, there's no excuse for people behaving like that, in my opinion. So therefore, it's necessary to tell them that it's not okay to behave that way.
I see a couple of those are like parachutes, and I don't know that that's a purposeful thing when my kids shoot them. You know, the wind can carry them pretty
Yeah,
far.
some of those parachute things were way over on the far side of my property, so they had gone all the way across.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They're probably shooting them over their own property, and then the wind is carrying them.
No. We're talking about a crowd of people sitting there across the street, their chairs aimed toward my property, someone out in front shooting off the fireworks, sending them my direction.
I guess the one question I have before we go into creating an ordinance just for fireworks, is this different than if I had a bag of trash and I just set it on the front porch and it blew away and I just say, oh, I don't need to pick that up, it's not my problem, it's not on my property? Is it no different than littering? And is not littering a...
When I talked to the police chief, he said that the littering ordinance wouldn't cover it because there's a problem of proving that the littering was done deliberately or something.
So how do we...
But the problem of proving that still would exist, because how can you prove that that was deliberate? That's what I was saying. The wind carried it. I mean, to be able to enforce it.
I could have taken some pictures and proven that it was very deliberate. It was very deliberate.
If this is something we want to explore, I assume we want to send it to committee,
I'd like to talk to the
to the
chief.
police and fire committee, so that they can discuss it with the police, to make sure enforceability concerns are addressed, maybe see
100%.
what other cities are doing as
Because
well.
I'll be honest, I feel like this is just an enforcement nightmare. Like, I don't know
I
if I would
agree.
ever even begin to, okay, and even considering that, what, let's assume 50-60% of fireworks shooting happens after night. So, I mean, that's why I'd like to talk with Chief about it as well, just because I feel like there's no way to enforce this.
I mean, if it's children too, do you punish the parent or who lights the fuse? I mean, there's just so many questions that come into this, I think that we would need to kind of figure out, in my opinion.
Well, what was happening here was a very organized thing. That someone had purchased these fireworks, they had them set up in order, here was the audience sitting here. Last year, the same people started doing the same thing, and I noticed that what they were doing was they were out in the street lighting them off, and I went out and said, aha, that's illegal. You cannot be shooting off fireworks in the street, hindering the flow of traffic. And I said, I don't want them in my yard. Point them across your yard. Well, you see, they have trees on their property. So they're shooting them across the street is what they're doing. I can't imagine that that someone who is really concerned about the impression that the city would make to somebody moving here would say that there's something wrong with putting this in effect in an ordinance.
Did you, the people that you saw shooting them, did you happen to ask them to go clean up the trash in your yard?
They didn't even bother to clean up what was in the street very well.
No, I understand that, but if,
No,
what
I
I'm
did
saying
not
is if
ask,
you would've went to
I
them, maybe
did
they
not
would've.
ask them to
Okay.
clean it up.
All right,
I cleaned it up quick before my dog got into it.
gotcha, okay.
So does the council want to send this to committee?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll send this to the police and fire committee, and they'll talk to the chief of police and work out proposals and bring it back. I assume you'd like to be notified when
I
it's
would
coming back?
like to be notified of that meeting, please, yes,
Okay.
so I can be there. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
Bernita.
Next up, we have the FFA Blue and Gold Tractor Show.
Move to approve the request.
Second.
Okay, it's moved in second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have the end-of-season dog swim event. Pool manager Courtney Porter.
Hi, everyone. Dr. Courtney Porter, your Aquatic Center Manager for the summer. Thanks again for seeing me so much on different occasions up here. So I just want to say it's been a super exciting summer. I know we've had our hiccups throughout the summer. I feel like we've done a great job navigating those. It's definitely been a trust-building summer, and just getting feedback from the community. I feel like the team has done very well, and truly couldn't have been even prouder of the team that we have this summer. One of the things that's been a giant ask, I feel like that's been in other communities, is the need for a dog swim. As being a dog owner that thinks that my dog is a kid too, that it is a fun night, it is a big community event, and can be very well organized. I know this one is kind of a little bit last minute to kind of have that inaugural session, but I think it will still be really fun if it does get passed, and just gives us another chance to be a part of the community and not just be considered a swimming pool that's just in the community, but to actually say that we are part of the community and we want more people involved. So maybe somebody that doesn't normally swim but does have a pet that they would like to get out and see the pool for the first time and maybe just actually venture in, would be a great opportunity for that. I do have a proposal written up that just kind of gives all the do's and don'ts of what that would look like. I did structure this off of the rest of the communities in our area that do and have had a successful dog swim nights. So those were those rules and regs have been built from, as well as the limited liability waiver. That is just one that I have built up, so that obviously can just change to be branded for the city of Marysville. And, you know, if there's any verbiage or anything like that that needs to change, definitely open for that too. But it just kind of just takes us out of the responsibilities of, obviously, if a dog does bite. We do want owners to have their dogs vaccinated and on a leash when they enter the pool, and then they can be kind of free-for-all after that, after they're in the water. So, but there has been ideas that we could eventually partner with the veterinary clinic here in town for dog adoptions or pet adoptions in general. So, you know, there's lots to come from this. I know there's vendors that do make dog treats. So, you know, there's lots of different ways we can incorporate and start incorporating more things if this does get passed.
I like it.
I like it. I have a couple questions just because I can hear my phone ringing now.
Yes.
But first off, I myself have heard great things about how the swimming pools run this year, so you're doing a great job, so you should be proud. I know someone's gonna ask, so what about the dog mess left behind and stuff like that, like potties and stuff?
Yes.
Are you prepared
Yes.
for that, I guess?
We will have dog cleanup bags, of course, if there is any messes, so we will be ready for that. It will be our final end of the year swim, so we won't have to worry about any chemical treatments or anything like that. The dog hair should work like just the rest of our people hair does and go through the pool skimmer. I've talked to Tony in depth about this. He is on board, or, you know, we wouldn't even be this far if truly has definitely been a right-hand man, and the collaboration with him has been amazing through this summer. So what we're planning on doing is the day after, we'll just turn over our big sand filters. We do know how to chemically treat those, so we don't expect any more hair than it is on an average big pool day when it's us with long hair, and the amount of hair that I'm currently cleaning out of the skimmers and the vacuum is kind of, you know, next level anyway. So I'm definitely prepared for that, and just again have the team, and I get to be the one cleaning out the skimmer, and I'm very, very happy to do that.
Will you have areas like taped off or?
It's a good question. We do have cones from the street department has given us some cones to borrow, so we could close off the slides area so they can't get back there.
Or, yeah, and just like a visual aid, like, because I'm reading through just as,
Oh, that makes good sense. So we can sure do that.
you know, just to keep them out at the deeper end.
Yep, that
visually.
makes sense. Thank you for that.
Well, my 120-pound golden doodle, who should love the water, won't walk outside if it's sprinkling. I would make a motion that we move forward with the end-of-season dog swim event and
Second.
go from there.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay, next we have ordinance 1929, rezoning of A1 to SR3 at 832 Pony Express Highway. See the letter in there from City Inspector Will Ralph recommending it. And do you have any other comments, Josh?
Nope, this is just the property that Jim and Stacy Ellenbecker just bought recently. They're just wanting to divide that tract of land, so that way it has to go to the, that's why it has to go to the suburban residential district. So that's about all.
Move to approve ordinance 1929.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Is that sewer, water stuff gonna come into play for that?
It has rural water. We didn't get the water out there. We can't get it, but it does have our sewer. And there are 2 homes there. That's why it has to be zoned off. He's gonna keep the ag land in the back, but he's just zoning the 2 front houses so he can sell those.
Because right now, they were one owner.
One owner,
Yep.
one person, so
Right.
all of it was together. It was the family lived in 2 homes, is what it.
Are they planning on like splitting it and selling it?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
developers or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll technically
They
be
would
like
have
that.
to
Oh.
plat it, right, if they decide to do the ag land as well, but right now they're using it for hay like it has always been.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call?
Snellings,
Yes.
Frères,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Eichmann,
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Franz,
Yes.
Garacki.
Yes.
8-0.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we have the League of Kansas Municipalities delegates.
So as a reminder for this meeting, we need to designate 2 voting delegates. And then we have the option to have 2 extra alternate delegates. Since there should only be, I think, 4 people total going from the city, that's a perfect number for that. So
I
we just
think
need,
Kevin and I were last year.
Probably.
So guys, as a reminder, who are the 4 that are going?
Kevin,
Colleen?
And Sheree.
Sheree.
And Josh.
and
I just need to know who's gonna be what, so I can turn it.
I can do it.
I'll do it.
Okay. Okay, council. You can do it by
Like
consensus,
Colleen
I
is-
And do you
suppose.
wanna add the
and
alternates
then
too?
Sheree and I would be alternates.
Sheree and
if
Josh is
somebody-
alternates,
Okay.
is everybody on board with that?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Do that by consensus.
Oh, okay.
Gonna be a formal vote for that, I don't
Okay.
think.
Yep.
Okay, next up, we have city employee picnic, September 14th at City Park.
Move to approve the request.
Expect you all to
Everybody's
be
excited to
there.
picnic. Is there any further discussion?
It was a good time last year. It was a good time last year.
I wished I could have been there.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, next up, we have Resolution 2024-14, the Gravel Dash Alcohol Temporary Extension of Premises. I believe this is the same as we've done in the previous years.
So are they selling alcohol? Is that what they're doing? They're selling alcohol?
Allowing them to,
Or they're allowing them to bring it in?
alcohol
to be drank.
I think it's not allowing to be sold.
Let's see.
They just changed the state
Yeah,
law.
to sell. To sell alcohol.
It's to sell.
Where are they selling it at? Because I'm just gonna throw this out there, the state is going to want to know that on this map.
Yes, they are.
It's a good question.
And I will
Not
ask.
intricately involved in
And when I
it.
originally asked Wayne, they hadn't made up their mind yet.
Okay.
But before he sends it in,
Or pencil it in before you send it in.
So-
right, that's true.
I mean, do we want to approve it pending that? I mean,
Well, you can
Need
approve
it.
it saying it will be within
Within
this-
the boundaries?
Within the boundaries, and then he has to show it, as long as
Where-
you don't have a problem with it being
the
anywhere
boundaries.
within the boundaries.
As long as we're okay with all the boundaries.
As
Is
long
this
as
how
you're
we
okay.
always did this?
Huh?
This form looks different than what we've done in the past.
Form, but
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so,
haven't seen this one before.
this is what they have to send in. He originally told me it would be on the corner of 8th Street, because that's where they're going to have the food going down. On the corner, like by RX or whatever, on that corner, because they were gonna have that chuck wagon
Oh, yeah.
dinner going down
I
there.
gotcha.
So that's, unless they change their mind, he doesn't have it marked on here, but I couldn't talk to him last week, obviously.
Yeah, it's gonna be within that pink boundary.
It is gonna be within the pink boundary, and from what he originally told me, it would be on the corner of 8th and Broadway.
I'll move to approve resolution number 2024-14.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 2024-14. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
8-0.
Thank you. Next up, we have health insurance. Shaver Camp.
Yep, so, health insurance from Blue Cross Blue Shield, is going up 19% for next year. We were told to plan for 10 at the most, so that's what we did, and unfortunately, that did not work. So of course, we went ahead and started looking at other options, and we were admitted into the K-MET plan as long as council were to approve and have us be added to it. And so actually, it saves us on a year compared to the regular Blue Cross plan about $80,000. So of course, that money would be coming from, or that would stay in the employee benefit fund. We wouldn't be able to use it anywhere else, but it would allow us to not have to draw as much the next year, which would be nice. With it being a 19% increase, we were talking about possibly having to try to find $38,000 in the general fund. So, being able to have $42,000 extra within the employee benefit fund would be really nice. And that $42,000 is if we were to choose the $500 deductible. So that's even the best option of them. If we were to move up to the $1,000 deductible, that would be $89,000 in saving, or the $1,500 deductible would be $96,000. Obviously, I hope that we go with the $500 deductible. But then also, it gives us an option of years on, if it is too expensive for us, we can
Right.
move back to the next step, and move back to the next step, so that way we're not hindering ourselves later on.
Is there any downside to this at all?
I think the drug costs were a little bit different, but otherwise everything is basically the exact same. We pay $50 extra in the max out of pocket, so it's $5,000 rather than $49.50. It's like no difference at all. We can see our primary care physician, you know, any amount of time rather than only 5 times a year. So, you know, that's the
We
plus.
can cross state line, I did check that, because that's a big deal.
The only thing that's not a part of the KMET plan is the dentist, so we would be staying with the same dental plan, but that was actually going down 3% anyway, so.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Was there anything in the benefits package previously that city employees were upset about, or were looking to wanting to get changed, or have a better something on that?
I have not heard of anything. I think
Not that I
they're
heard.
pretty happy with this plan. I know previously there was a better plan we were a part of, but unfortunately we were too small of an organization to stay within that plan, so we were automatically moved down. And we have tried to get into KMET previously. A couple years ago, we opted out of it because we were in that good plan. Then we got moved out of the plan. We tried to get into KMET and we were denied. And then now this year, we've been accepted.
Explain
So-
to them what KMET is.
Okay, so KMIT is the Kansas Municipal Insurance Trust.
Right.
And it was designed 30 years ago because cities could no longer get work comp. Regular insurance companies wouldn't sell to cities anymore. So the cities grouped together and started an association, and they sell us our work comp as such right now. And so 3 years ago, they decided that there were so many cities that, because of the way insurance was, couldn't buy health insurance either. And so they decided to jump in the game and make a big association. So like, there's 350 people in this now. So if one person has a catastrophic event, it gets split over 300 people. So you're not near so vulnerable.
It's basically self-insured, is what it comes down to.
More or less, I mean,
The-
yeah.
the members are
So
self-insured.
we don't have to pay a membership or whatever, but it's kind of like being in the state Blue Cross plan. It spreads it over, and there are people that we've worked with for a very long time, and their goal is to make cities strong. They have no other reason to be. They're all about municipalities, so we trust them.
And so also, so this plan is with KMET, but through Blue Cross.
Yes, this is still Blue
So you
Cross
should still be able to
insurance.
have your same
This is still
doctor,
Blue
you
Cross
should,
insurance.
yeah.
The other question I had, do you have to be locked into this once you start it for so long, or if another better insurance, cheaper?
Every
better-
year, every year you have a renewal.
Do you have to reapply, or once you're in
No.
KMIT, you
Should
are
be
in?
in.
We're in.
Okay,
Perfect.
yeah. I didn't know, because since we did apply before and didn't get in.
Right.
I didn't want it to be a
Right.
situation where we could get pulled back out. Yeah.
I'd move to approve to move forward with the 500 deductible, 5,000 max out of pocket KMET plan. With
Second.
an annual savings of 80,000.
30, it was 39 or 80,000?
It's 80
80,000.
compared to,
Compared to
what
what
it
we
will
would
be.
have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good job on that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That was a good save.
All right, next up we have, line item 9, ordinance 1930, the alley parking ordinance that was added at the beginning of the evening. This was been kind of a project for a couple months. We had sent it to the city attorney to draft in, I think, May, and then, there was kind of a because of his conflict of schedules, we didn't get anywhere with it really. We finally have met, I think, twice now as a committee to discuss it. The initial discussions were that it was way too big and unwieldy. It went from an ordinance of like 3 or 4 sentences and pretty tight to a page and a half, and it got kind of big and complicated. It kind of became a lot. So the committee had decided to chop it down, and with the help of City Administrator Haberkamp, kind of synopsized it, and then re-met with that reformed version, which you see in front of you, and discussed again some of the pros and cons, potential pros and cons of the ordinance in place or proposed, and then it was decided to send it to council. So that's the background on it.
I had, I don't know, do we have to wait till there's a motion for?
No, you can talk about it.
So I had a couple calls about this. Some saying it's, you know, good, and others have questions about it. I know the original thought was because of no parking on the street for some houses, people would have parked quite a ways away and stuff. And one person called me and was asking, do we know how many people that affected?
That was gonna be my question too, as to who all is gonna benefit from this ordinance being passed.
I don't have any hard data because I think it'd be tough to go door to door. I'm gonna say it's more than just houses, or more than just residences that would potentially benefit from it.
Because there's a lot of businesses.
Well, businesses, museums, I mean, the Pony Barn, it's even marked customer parking along the alley in a couple of places. But the bank and other places too, where pretty much anywhere there's tight parking, it could theoretically benefit any residential area in town, but it more benefits places where parking is pretty limited because of either the street's narrow, we don't allow parking on one side for school buses or trucks or whatever. And that was a thing that was discussed at committee, was that this wouldn't be treat them differently than the streets. It would treat them the same as the streets. The rules that apply in the street would apply in the alleys too, as in you can't just park a trailer. You can't be parked for more than 24 hours without moving. It would basically treat them as street parking in the same sense. And it was kind of hued that, I mean, there were concerns about blocking ingress and egress from driveways, from garages.
Yeah.
And so that's why that wording was added into it, was so that there would be some enforceability factor. Now, like pretty much every ordinance we have, ideally, if it's your neighbor, you can go, hey neighbor, please don't park there or whatever, but you've got to have some teeth. Otherwise, in other situations, the police won't be able to enforce it. So.
And people will take advantage.
Oh, yeah.
No matter how.
And that's the risk you run with pretty much anything we do, is that there's always somebody who can find a way to take advantage. But
At least it's in there that it's enforceable, that people that are blocking it
Right.
or parking in front of someone's garage or something, at least it's.
And it was discussed, City Administrator, or City Inspector Will Ralph, and our city attorney had said, well, maybe we do one side of the street throughout town, or one side of the alley through town. But we discussed that, and that's pretty difficult, because some alleys, there's nothing on one side, or there's all driveways on one side. And also it'd make for that'd be its own enforceability problem. So, I mean, the reason, to me that this makes sense is because the problem, the original ordinance as it stands, the goal is to make sure that emergency vehicles, service vehicles, residents can get through and down alleys. And this preserves that while also acknowledging the fact that we have a relatively dense downtown and central business district. And that's a good thing, but this is obviously the flip side of that. And there's a lot of places where, you can get 90% of a car off the alley, so it's a little bit on, but under the ordinance as it stands, any vehicle in the alley, any overhang, I mean, if you're inside that 20-foot width, then you are in violation. And that's a lot more people than you think.
I've driven around, that's a lot, yeah.
And a lot of that's too because of vehicles today. A lot of vehicles are longer than they used to be. I mean, you used to be able to have a spot that was for a car, and now, I mean, with an extended cab pickup, it's almost impossible to get into a car spot.
Got a call about temps, Kevin, about temps not being able to get through
Yeah,
the alleys.
I had a call too,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that an issue?
It has been.
I think it would be.
Is 12 foot enough?
Oh, yeah.
Or 14 foot, or whatever this is.
12. It's
12,
12.
it's 12, yeah.
Well, it just depends on how people park.
Yep.
And that in there lies the issue.
Yeah.
As it does when they're parked on the street.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is people, I mean, people now park across sidewalks when they shouldn't, and they park too close to the corners and in front of fire plugs. I mean, there's not, I don't think they teach parking etiquette in driver's ed, maybe they should.
I think our biggest issue is going to be, at least from the complaint I got about this, was that they have to stay far enough back that these people can back out of their garages. Because we have
Yeah.
so many garages on the alleys.
Yep.
And this doesn't address that.
But, well, that's the ingress, it does, it's the ingress and
Well,
egress.
It is, but.
I mean, it does, it
That'll be
doesn't-
your issue.
Yeah, well,
I think,
yeah, but
if
it,
we have one.
yeah.
And that's when you call and we ticket these people
Well,
and we tow their vehicles and they don't do it again.
And most of the
In theory,
time,
that's
it is
true. That's why
not
the
gonna
penalty's
be
there.
strangers doing it, it's probably gonna be your neighbors, there's always gonna be some rando, but usually good, it's like good parking makes good neighbors.
Right.
So my question is gonna be, if you call the police and tell them somebody's parking, are you gonna have to go sign a complaint, or are they gonna come out and check it out?
I don't think they require it to
they
be
don't.
signed,
They-
you can just call, and if they're notified of it, then they go
Yeah.
inspect and address it. That's the way it was explained to me by the
I
PD.
had several people
No.
address it to me
Well,
today
yeah.
and thought
And that's a
it
thing, for
was
sure.
a terrible idea.
Any report you give to the police, except for very minimal circumstances, you can remain anonymous.
Yeah, but if it's an existing ordinance, unless they need a witness, I mean, they're the witness in that case, because they went and looked.
Right.
So, that's why they don't need a witness statement.
Right.
I think this ought to say, at least say, not blocking the driveway.
Well, it's the ingress and egress.
Yeah.
That means not blocking the driveway.
Well,
Most people aren't gonna know that.
We can,
Yeah.
I feel like that's just common courtesy that you don't block somebody else's
Also,
driveway.
also common
Exactly.
sense.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
and
Like, I just,
Ignorance is no excuse at the
I
law.
know, but I just,
There's lots of big words in there. I mean,
I think it's covered, yeah.
And then if you have them parking on both sides, then what are you gonna do?
well, that's,
The person
and that was
can't even get
discussed as
through.
well, and in that situation, then they could both be cited if they don't move.
Right.
Yeah.
because
That's same thing right now.
You have a alley garage, you need a lot of space
Oh,
to
sure you
turn
do.
to get into that. And if you've got somebody just not blocking your driveway, but
They're
you still
blocking.
can't get
yeah,
in.
They block, that makes them blocking ingress and egress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're right, and, I witness it a lot since I live in the urban core of town. Trucks that unload at Dollar General, a lot of times the bread truck will be there, and then, well, the Pepsi truck can't get in, or the Busch Light truck, or whatever. And so they go and they talk and one moves, and, I mean, yes, it's blocked temporarily, but that's the kind of communication. It's hard to legislate everything, basically.
But on that alley, the last time I noticed, there was a travel trailer parked
Yeah, I
half
believe
on the
that's true.
alley, too, so.
Right, which is not legal on any street in town. And any street, you can't do that on any street, so. That's the thing too, and honestly, I'll speak from my personal experience, it'd be nice if alleys weren't considered streets, because, you get a lot of traffic in them, and that's, because it is so close to a lot of people's houses and garages, et cetera. But I think treating them the same way we'd treat streets, if you block anybody's driveway and won't let them get out of their driveway in the street, same deal. I mean, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents, so.
my 2 cents, if you got a narrow driveway, older people are going to take a wider turn back in.
I fixed a lot of side view mirrors in my day, Keith, I know.
It's something you gotta think about too.
Sure,
I mean, you got-
absolutely.
And I think you're splitting hairs, because if you park a vehicle at the bottom side of my driveway, you gotta be careful getting out of it,
Yeah.
because they're narrow streets.
Right,
So,
yeah.
I think the ordinance is written quite well.
Well, I think Josh did a lot of the drafting on it.
yeah, way better than it was the first.
The first one was
Pretty strict.
pretty big.
But that's only a testament to the city attorney trying
No,
to do
it's
his job
true.
correct. I don't want him getting a bad rap.
No, not at all, not at
very
all.
lawyery.
Yeah.
But we, I think, also have to strike a balance between how much bureaucracy we have versus, using a little bit of common sense.
Right,
Because
yeah,
that got
right,
so
right.
big, then that's hard for people to understand. gets
It's hard to
hard for
enforce.
us to understand and enforce.
Yeah.
Right.
I move to approve, ordinance number 1930, alley parking.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
No.
Oh, sorry. Roll call. I even wrote roll call on here and I still forgot.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Snellings,
Yes.
Ferris,
No.
Barons,
No.
Keating,
Yes.
Beichman,
No.
Schrader,
Yes.
Brom,
Yes.
Garacki.
Yes.
Oh my God. 5-3.
Thank you. Okay, next we have the city water service outside city limits. As, I don't know, you can probably stay seated for now unless there's questions or you'd like to come up.
I have questions.
Okay, you've got questions. Come on up, Alan.
Well, when Cindy and I talked today, we discussed the latitude of having the opportunity to, at the right time, sign the document but also at the right time choose the option of the 5 acres that we're authorizing for annexation, and the rest of the cornfield, we were talking about the buildings, the residents, and the lawn would be annexed, and if it took more than 5 acres, we'd have to have a survey, of course, to do that.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a time-consuming process to schedule and get a survey. Time is of the essence. Where does the city stand on my options being executed to not lock me into the wrong direction on having the cornfield as a part of the city as opposed to the 5 acres or 5 acres, whatever it takes for the residents to be there? How do you interpret that?
When we type this up, if you saw it, it says see attached, and that would be, at this present time, if we want to move forward, it would be the entire property. But he can do a lot split, is what they call it, and we can approve that through here. And 5 or 6 acres, he has 27 acres, he has to keep 21, that he could do a lot split. And then because we don't have to annex right now. This just says we have the right to annex. So we can come back and put that amended lot split within this, because it doesn't say we're annexing at this moment.
So if
Even after the lot split, we don't have
We
to
don't have to
annex the property that the house is on. But if it's split, then we can choose at any time to annex just the house.
Or he
The
can choose.
acreage would
I
be
understand.
too
Understand.
large.
And if it takes 5.8 acres or 6.6 acres to get all the buildings in there like we'd like it to have it, depends on
That's
Merce's
fine.
wishes. And Sherry, my wife, his daughter, is got a lot to say too.
As it should be.
And I support every word.
Smart man.
But we want to be assured that your interpretation, that you're giving our comfort, the family, the comfort that we have the right to do that after we sign this document tonight, should you choose to have us sign this document tonight. And I think you had the language that you'd like for me to see on my signature line. On his behalf, I am a trustee of his trust and also a power of attorney, durable power of attorney. So.
It really to split off the portion of it, even if it was all annexed, to split the portion off and consider it agricultural is no different than the other decision we made tonight.
Absolutely, because the other is agriculture.
But the one question I do have is, what about sanitary sewer?
He has a lagoon.
He
does have a
He has
lagoon? And the city
He does
permits-
not have to come in with a lagoon, if
Unless
he
he
needs
sells.
sanitary sewer. If he needs sanitary sewer, then he has to annex. We do not allow sewer without annexing. Water is the only thing we allow without annexing.
And
So-
the lagoon is on agricultural land. It's not on his residential barrier.
Right.
So how does that work as far as the bill then? Will he still be charging minimum for water and sewer?
No, he won't be charged for sewer at all, just water.
I didn't know you could split that, okay.
That water's the only one they do. Sewer is the opposite, except for it's on the other side of town because the water district wouldn't sell, so it's, they're billed just sewer.
This is why I like it, all these hats thrown in the ring to study out all these little details of the nuances of all the ordinances, and I appreciate all of you. So Would you like for me to sign it before I depart, or?
No, let us
Okay,
work it out, we're
I'll just
fine.
hang out.
So my
No, we'll
question
In other
get
words,
it
this
ready tomorrow, they
comes
just have to
afterwards.
vote.
Okay.
It is
we
a-
have to vote for the water and the annexation, or can we just approve the
No, no.
water,
You
figure
would,
this
you
stuff out
approve
later?
this
Service
service
extension.
extension agreement. No, we're not annexing it, anything at this
Tonight.
point.
Nope.
We may not annex for 10 years.
Move to approve the, water service extension.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the water service extension. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, and don't
good,
forget to
Alan.
send me a bill.
Oh, don't worry.
I knew you'd say that. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank
Alan.
you.
Mert, thank you.
Okay, next up we have notices and hearings. First up, we have the nuisance for 904 May. This, I believe, has been discussed several times before at council.
If he's not here, then he didn't show up for the hearing, that's,
There's nobody here.
okay. So, if you've opened the hearing, we can close the hearing if no
Okay.
one's here.
We've closed the hearing since no one's here to speak on the matter.
Move to approve resolution 2024-15.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve resolution 2024-15, 904 May condemnation. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
8-0.
Okay, next up we have the consent agenda.
Move to approves consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, so moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion or anything anyone would like pulled out? In favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
8-0.
Thank you. Next we have the appropriations ordinance.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance 3828, the amount of $530,785.62.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to approve the appropriations ordinance. Is there any further discussion? Roll call.
Snellings,
Yes.
Harris, Barons,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Bikeman,
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Throm,
Yes.
Brackey.
Yes.
8-0.
Thank you. And next up we have the city administrator report. Josh.
Recently, we've been painting the streets to get ready for school, so hopefully you guys have noticed that. Hopefully they're bright white and bright yellow out there. Otherwise, the pool has updated hours. Please pay attention to the social media page for the pool. That way you can stay up to date on those hours. They're rapidly changing over this week, next week, you know, and up until September 2nd. So, yeah, hopefully that'll stay up to date and you guys will see that there. Otherwise, I don't have anything else.
Okay, thank you, Josh. Next we have standing committee reports. I know we had a Parks and Rec meeting. If Kyle, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, that was quite a bit we covered. From basically what we discussed is extending the contract with Parks and Rec.
Marshall County Board and Rec.
Yes. Sorry. Basically, their ask was to condense basically relinquish their office space down here and set up kind of more of a kiosk and information booth at the chamber office. And basically, we'd save a little money on that with as far as rent goes, but it would, and I think that the backstory on that was just that they'd be accessible to the public, but they're up at the fields most of the time anyway, so, have we spoken to Wayne at all about that?
No, his father was gone all week, so I got
understand,
to
so I didn't
speak
know
with
if
him.
we'd spoken with that, but, gosh, what was the other main, concern was we were gonna go from 68,000
to 70.
70,000, just with their services,
Everything else is going up, why? you know?
exactly, yeah, I mean, their time and effort, and
And the
all
term,
should
And it could
follow
be
suit,
3 or
but
5.
yes.
the term of the contract was.
This is where the sticking point was, is They requested a 5-year term extension. We had discussed a 3-year term extension just based on the turnover of, potential elections for this council. It would basically not lock us in. But the benefit of locking that in would be they would not be able to adjust the pricing for an additional 5 years as far as what they would charge us. So there's a double-edged sword to that as far as decision-making on council's part on whether we want future councils to have more say sooner, or do we lock that pricing rate in for a 5-year term. So that was something we discussed that we wanted to bring to the full council for your thoughts.
Probably something that needs to be on the next agenda.
Yeah,
But we need to know which way to write the contract.
we need to
what
know
you're
which way to
asking.
write it up for the proposed contract, if the council's, inclined to 3 years versus 5 years, because there's an argument to be made for both. 3 years gives us some flexibility,
I have
but
no
5
issue
years is a
I
value
have no
proposition.
issue with the 68 to 70 increase, that's.
And inflation, everything's gone up.
I'm inclined to do the 5 years because, every decision we make as a council is gonna impact the next council in some way. So that, as long as they're doing a good job, I'd say, and which they have shown us that they're doing an awesome job, that we just need to go ahead and lock it in for 5 years.
Oh, they brought a lot of things to the table that I wasn't aware that they were doing, such as creating a league that extends from Washington to Axtell that bring, little league teams to this community to,
Yeah.
to compete here,
And
which is
yeah.
big.
And this helps the stores.
Yeah,
and
absolutely, it
everything
helps,
else,
everything.
everything.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I would agree that they're doing a good job, and I wouldn't be opposed to the 5-year term, but I'm also not opposed to the 3. I could go either way on that. So.
It sounds like, and like we've discussed, we haven't been able to talk to Wayne yet about it, but
Yeah.
it sounds like they're really gonna integrate more with that one Marysville group, which would be probably beneficial for the organization as well, and I think that kind of says that they're in it for that long haul too.
Yeah, and we had discussed having them type up like frequently asked questions, so somebody down there could potentially answer something, but if it's more out of their scope, hey, they're at the ball fields doing what they should, go and speak with them type thing. So, there was discussion on that as well, but yeah, I mean,
I think the office originally, when that was put in that agreement, it's been in there for a lot of years, there wasn't internet. There wasn't cell phones. So they needed a place that they could actually physically get to somebody when they were trying to sign up or get whatever. I mean, like she said, when they pick up the ball equipment, it's at the ball field. I don't have it at the office. And so I think that was put into that lease for that reason.
And it's still important that they have a public space available, readily available to people, but that is just another option, would be, the chamber building. In fact, it's a really good option as long as
Gets all our
they
people
are
going to the same
able.
place.
we discussed a protected drop box that would allow for people to drop payments in for their little league, participants to be able to be behind those closed doors where
Yep.
people don't have access to
We
that.
do have cameras there as well, which will be
Cameras,
good.
yeah, absolutely. So, that's something that we considered as well.
Who owns that building that they operate on?
We do.
The city. So that, potentially we could rent that to someone else then. And
Absolutely.
bring more funds to the taxpayers.
Or sell the building?
Oh, you mean the,
Talking about the.
you're talking about
Sport and
Chamber Main
Rec
Street, the Sports and
over
Rec building?
The sports and rec.
Sports and Rec is privately owned.
Yeah, they pay somebody rent for that.
Okay.
I think they said, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, we had two different conversations going on. No, but I don't know that will be a big problem for whomever that is. I don't even know who their landlord is because downtown space is at a premium, so.
Yeah. Does anybody have any thoughts on the 3 or 5 years?
So that 70,000, that's what it stuck at for 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
If we were to lock that in,
Yeah.
Because our current contract, they could
It's,
started somewhere and they could raise it
No.
every year or something.
No. It started at 65 and then but it was a 1-year contract. And then they came and asked us for 5 and we gave them 2 more. So it was 3 total, at the 68.
Okay.
And so, so they were okay with
I
locking
make
it
a
in.
motion to lock it in for 5 years.
I'll second it,
Okay,
see where it goes.
to move it and seconded to draw up the agreement with proposed agreement for 5 years. Is there any further discussion?
I have one question, because this is all new to me. So in this contract, is there any recourse for the city that, I mean, anything can happen.
Absolutely,
So
and there
what
is.
if one of them dies and
Yep.
the other one can't handle all that
Right.
workload? Is the city protected as far as the
Yes.
contract goes? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or if the city doesn't have enough funds in that fund, we have that protection, and, yeah, we got multiple.
And they have to continue to do their
failure-
job.
failure to
If
perform duties
failure to
with-
do their
yeah.
duties. then-
And they report once a year, and we're talking about reporting a little bit more often, so that way it even gets thrown out in the public what sports are actually
we
available,
didn't
you
know.
know?
I mean, they're doing a great job.
They are,
I
yeah.
mean, they're expanding and bringing more people in, so I have nothing but, congratulations to them, but I don't want them to be locked into something, there's one person now.
No, there is an out.
Yeah.
If, I think it's a 30-day, they can come and tell us and say, hey, this isn't gonna work anymore. Or if we find something that just isn't working anymore, that there is you'll see that in the contract. Okay. That it's in.
Perfect.
Or if COVID happens again,
Yeah.
there's a thing in there for that too.
Yeah,
Oh,
that nasty word.
Okay? Is
There
there
were
any-
also other Parks and Rec.
Oh,
Yeah, but we've got a
We got
motion
it
on
Oh,
the table.
oh, okay, I thought you did.
Is there any further discussion on putting it at 5 years? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
You don't need any other direction on drawing that up, right? We've got all the other details.
Nope, because they all looked at it before.
Yeah.
Okay, and so yes,
Oh,
there were.
goodness, what else we do? We just, remind me his name.
Bill
Trey?
Trey?
Trey, yep, he came and discussed the proposal for Ottawa to take over the, train, yeah, and forgive me, but it kind of seemed like that they weren't fully operational to be able to take this on just yet. So it's not as if it is
Yeah.
a pressing thing, because I think that they're not, his speculation that they would officially form their group in 2025 to 2026.
They don't have their
Yeah.
formation.
So they're
together.
not actually a group officially
an
yet.
organization.
So we do have some time with that. He was very knowledgeable in
Yeah.
engines, UP engines. I mean,
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
was pulling a lot of info out that I was impressed with as far as his knowledge and understanding of these locomotives.
he was
But
enthusiastic
He was
as well.
very enthusiastic. Let's see.
He has to come look at it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they,
so basically, one of the main things that we discussed with that is he gave a presentation, which did you send that out to?
No, but we have a copy right here, because
Yeah.
Keith has it.
He gave a presentation and had, and Cindy sent us an email with hyperlinks that would send you and direct you to all these different websites.
And I could do that if you wanted to that as well.
But one thing that they requested to do, that if we move forward with this, they would like to be able to inspect mainly the boilers on this locomotive, because that they would be investing a substantial amount of money to have this restored if we decide to go that route. And they, in order to do that, and, for our benefit as well, we'd be educated on what is capable with it. It would be mutually beneficial for both parties just to know, hey, is this something that can be fully restored? Is it something that has no hope of it? So we kind of discussed maybe granting, and he had a couple names that he threw out that he's an expert in boilers for these locomotives that he basically said would come and go to Oklahoma, maybe Colorado. That would, if we were to grant access to the locomotive to come inspect it, that he said he would reach out to pretty quickly if we.
So does that cost for them to inspect the
It
boiler?
would not cost us.
No, and we would have the information.
Yeah.
So-
Well, that's what I'm saying. But we have to approve
He-
transfer of that to them.
So he
what
he
we
initially
decided-
proposed the transfer
Yeah,
and then coming and looking at it here, so that way they know before they move it what they're getting into. And we said, well, why don't you have somebody inspect it before we even do that?
Yeah.
That way both of our groups know what we're getting into.
And
That way it's not wasting his
And
time.
we know if it is even restorable.
He seemed open to that. He didn't, that wasn't a sticking point as far as that night that they needed to be taking ownership of it before that, so.
Because the boiler on a steam engine is probably one of the most used, and
And intricate, he was talking maybe to the tune of, what he tossed out, 6 mil?
Something, it was a
ridiculous
lot.
like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, to do a full restore and part everything out, I don't know. I think that's what he tossed out, but,
And he hasn't formed his organization yet.
not quite.
So he's talking about
There's
$6
a few
million
people
corporation.
formed together.
Yeah.
They're looking at
They want
growing
more
it
members.
for the
Yeah.
25, 26.
Yes.
They're really trying to pick and choose who they would want to join. That way they make sure that they have the different parts of the group that they think are most important.
people
And not
with the
just a
money.
group of friends,
and
you
people
know.
with the money.
So, yeah, it's a big part of it. So yeah, I don't know, I would be open and recommend that we would extend the offer to grant them access to inspect the train.
Yeah, as long as it's
But I
not,
didn't hear your answer on that. They don't need,
They do not need,
Need ownership
they do
of it
not,
first.
they did not request having ownership first
Okay.
in order for
And-
that to happen. They said that we could continue status quo right now. They would have somebody come in
and we'd want to make sure it was non-destructive testing probably as
and-
well.
Yeah.
And just
no,
cutting,
no,
torching a hole in the
yeah.
side of it or something.
Yeah.
And this would lay the groundwork that if the boiler is not any good, then it would just stay where
No,
it's
it'll
at,
stick around.
and nobody's gonna want it.
Or,
He didn't take that off the table
No,
that
he
night. He didn't say that this is a hard no if they find out it's not.
yeah, this is
No.
probably just finding out how many investors they need to.
talked-
And I-
There you go.
They-
He
That's
talked
what they
like
were
As
doing.
opposed
440
from
was a
2
baby.
million to 6 million.
So yes,
He really did.
This one?
The 440, the
yeah,
guy.
yeah, it's the same,
He
the
was
closest one
just
that's identical to
passionate.
Fairbury has the exact same locomotive.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And we kind of pressed that we didn't like the idea of this going anywhere as a parts locomotive, like it's a display or use, but not a parts locomotive. And he's like, oh no, Fairbury's hasn't been under a roof, it would be a good parts locomotive.
Yeah.
He
Did not
even,
take it off the table.
No,
that
he
if
did
the
not.
boiler is wrecked, that they would still
Be
very
interesting.
seriously consider it, so.
he even said he inspected the tracks, because he didn't want to step on anybody's toes that may want it, and that the tracks were not heavy enough to hold it.
In Waterville.
In
Waterville.
Oh, yeah, I don't
Rapids.
doubt that.
Yeah.
Those haven't
Oh,
really,
for the historic preservation.
Yeah, it would have to be
Yeah.
just a static
Because
display
he knew what
there.
kind of trains they ran on that.
The,
Yeah, oh,
yeah,
yeah,
speeders,
sure, yeah.
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 So,
So-
again, it's, the ball's in our court as far as that goes. Like we discussed, there's not a pressing issue. I think that this is a delicate issue that needs a lot of thought put behind it, because it's
Yeah.
pretty split throughout the community as far as what should
Let him
happen.
come look at it.
I think out of
Take it
consent,
in
we just let them
inspection.
come
Do
look
we
at
need,
it.
do we need an MOU or anything though, since they're gonna be messing around with it, or?
No,
are
I
we
just
good
say
to
out of
let them
consent.
do their thing?
think it
Well,
is.
okay, well, I
As long
just,
as,
well, they may need to, I mean, they may need to remove fence to get to it, I don't really know.
Liability.
Well,
Yeah, let's ensure that it's not gonna be destructive, like you said,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I doubt
Which
it.
we
I'm
can
just,
put that
they
in
might be
the,
surprised how bolts breaking off on
Correct,
something
yeah.
that
Sure,
old.
yeah, there's could be.
Okay, so is it the consensus of the council to let them have access?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
it's-
if they share, as long as they share the info with
Yeah, it'd
us,
be great info.
which we would want anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we also did the pool.
Yep, so,
It was a long
it was a
committee
long-
meeting
It was
on two
longer than most
locations.
council meetings.
yep, young Mr. Pilsel,
Oh, yeah.
actually
Eagle Scout.
amended his request as far as where to place the storage building, which would house the lap markers and any overflow storage that would fall outside of the main pool house. He
For
presented
the
us with-
swim team.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
presented us with two options, the easy way and the right way, in my opinion. He wanted to have it, he first proposed a 10 building, which would not be as labor intensive, but then he said, if we would prefer for this building, which, I'm sorry, I should have led with this, it was going to be running east and west along the south side of the slides where he was going to move the fence to make this happen. Now it is proposed to run north-south on the north side of the slides where there is a little bit of
That'd
a
be
green
grass.
space.
Okay,
In
right.
the fall, it'd be less work as far as moving the fence, but the first proposal was a 10 building, 10 roof. Second one was, hey, let's match the cinder blocks with what is currently there on the pool house itself. I think it was a very big yes that we would prefer that. But as far as doors, I think that you'd have a small walk-in door to the south side right off of the slides, as far as I understood it, and then you'd have a roll-up door to the facing west.
Facing the pool house.
Facing the pool house, that would mirror the roll-up doors that are there currently on.
Very secure.
Very secure. Electricity is not needed, he said. As far as, unless that changes, but we asked if he needed it to have electricity, he said no.
You thought maybe like a transom window or something for,
Yeah,
so you have
light.
light inside if it's daylight.
And there would be an approach, a concrete approach. It'd be built on concrete pad, but, and then it would be, I can't remember, like a 20-foot, basically a 20-foot by 20-foot diameter building. Well,
With
20 by 10.
20 by 10 with a leaner.
20 by 10, yes, with the lean-to with the concrete approach. So.
Yeah, because some of those big rolls and things
Yeah.
can't really go. It'd be hard to get them in and out of a building, but
Yeah.
they could still be under shelter.
Yeah.
And it would look nice.
Just, it would maintain, you'd lose a little green space there, but you would maintain some. I think that they're promoting more people using that area, so it's, you lose a little bit, but I think that we'd gain a.
I don't think that green space was used all that much, was it?
We've been trying to get it
Yeah.
to be used a little bit more this year, actively putting out chairs over there, stuff like that. And we've had a handful, but I don't know that we've really had a whole lot.
I do have to
still.
apologize, he wanted us, he couldn't get us the picture.
Yeah.
See, we were supposed
We
to
were-
have it for this meeting, and
Yep.
he couldn't get it together. He wanted to do more design.
Which is-
So it will come to your
That's
next meeting if you
which
want
is
to see the
fine.
picture.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And this is
He's not a
mutually
big
beneficial
hurt.
as well, just because he's gonna be, this is his Eagle Scout project. I don't think we should stand in his way to do that.
And the fact that he's being thoughtful about making it match the building,
Yeah.
or match the
That's
pool
more
house,
expense
and,
on them.
yeah, it's more work and it's more expense, but they understand that that makes it more permanent and, a nicer facility.
Yeah.
So as far as the green space, were we having trouble with space inside the pool, or were you
No.
just trying to get it used?
No, just trying to get it used, because
Yeah.
it's been there for, I don't know how many years, and
It will get used.
nobody really uses it.
This will keep
There's
a little
other
bit of
pools
green space.
that use it all the time, and since I've been here, I haven't seen anybody until we put out
The
chairs.
only time it gets used, it's, the pavement's really hot and somebody steps
The
off
grass
of it.
is cooler.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm assuming we'll wait until we have the renderings
If you
for
would,
that.
yeah, if you, I
would
mean, he said he would get it he just couldn't get it by last Thursday, and I
understand.
get
That's
that.
fine. Goodness, what else? The.
Fitness court.
Fitness court, yep. I'm assuming you all had your meeting.
Tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow, okay. I'll let you give the background on that, as I don't wanna be secondhand.
Sure. Well, it's something we discussed. It was brought to us, brought to our attention. There's a company that works with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas promoting these fitness courts. It's an outdoor kind of fitness facility, about 10 yards by 10 yards with like permanent outdoor exercise fixtures. Seneca's in the process of, I don't know, are they finished or they're still
They're
being?
finished.
It's
We're
finished.
done.
So if you want to see what one looks like, it's on Community Drive there in Seneca, that angled road that goes down south of the schools. We kind of discussed it. Josh and I have had a couple calls with the organization. Even after the grants, it's still not an inexpensive proposal, although we think it's something that would be a nice, potential benefit to the community. We don't have the money to rationalize doing it, at least at this point. It's also the kind of thing that maybe we could do something pretty close on our own and probably save a significant amount of money rather than having all their contractors and designs and things. So that's something we can explore down the line as well, but.
Would Landall maybe want to
Right.
powder coat?
Well, I was gonna say, there's a lot
I
of
think we
ways
got a lot
we
of
could use
pressing things.
contractors.
I know, yeah,
So,
exactly.
but the bottom line is, we think it's kind of cool and neat, but at this time, it just doesn't make sense.
What was our portion gonna be, what, over
170,000,
100?
Correct.
unless stuff was donated, and
Unless you
obviously
get
it'd go down.
in kind and there would just be materials, but still,
Yeah.
it would be
Kinda like
not
the
insignificant.
Playground, people donated and bought a specific,
It's a bit cost prohibitive.
It's something that down the line, maybe we can revisit, but at this time, it doesn't make sense.
Now, the flip side of that is I'm all for promoting public health in the community, and I think it would be a great addition, but I think that it's just, that is a big ask.
yeah.
So,
And we have several gyms in
we have
town.
gyms, absolutely, local businesses that already provide that service, but, yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's all we discussed.
No.
What else did we? Splash Park. My God, that was a meeting.
It was a long meeting.
I was gonna say, I thought I heard something about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we discussed, I guess if you want to lead on that, we discussed potentially doing a splash park, what that might look like for expense or location, maintenance concerns, in-kind contributions.
Yeah.
There's been some, people in the community who think it would be an asset, and well-used. One of the things we discussed was if it made more sense to put it somewhere like Dargits, where we already have water and lights and things, and that's far-flung enough from the pool. It's not competition anyway, but we wouldn't need to have it manned. We might want to have a camera or something to keep track of things, but whether that might be the place for such a facility was discussed. But we'd also be, there's a lot of maintenance that goes along with it, like winterization.
A lot of water usage.
A lot of water usage.
With that water, there's no potential for liability incidents and stuff.
There's always some, but it's a city park, so there's a certain amount of, as long as we do our due diligence, that's the key. That's why you see parks with zip lines. I think that's cool, but I don't want to do that.
We kind of have immunity to some of that as long as we are not negligent.
Yeah.
The nice thing about a splash park, once they spray, all the water disappears.
Yeah. You could, like I say, you can't drown in a splash park. It'd be awful hard.
I was more worried about falling down and killing myself.
One in Manhattan, I've taken Owen several times, and it's like textured, provides more, friction.
And there's a lot of daycare kids and just neighborhood kids
right
that,
in that area,
that would use it, and right now it's, they're kids that are either too small to go to the big pool, like to walk on their own, or we don't want them crossing the highway probably.
Yeah.
I know there are local contractors who've personally told me that they would be interested in donating the labor to do some of that work. So we could definitely minimize some costs.
We should see how Home City gets along. They're putting one in, right?
They're 15.
Stage 5 of.
Yeah, let's see how they get along.
What did you have some costs, Josh?
I think it's gonna be like 60 to 140 per square foot. So we're talking about, depending on the size, it could be like 200,000, it could be a little less. We would have to get it designed and see what that would be.
And we'd have options for funding it, ranging from doing a pony up proposal specifically tailored to it, or even the swimming pool fund, if the council so desired, since it's pretty much the closest thing outside the swimming pool that you could rationalize using that on.
Assuming we were to go the pony up route, is that something that we could earmark those dollars for?
Absolutely. You have to earmark them.
And we could do matching.
Okay,
We could
correct.
offer
You
a
have to.
matching amount.
And so, because you see communities with the thermometer, like and how far they've
Yeah.
rolled, so I don't know.
Yeah, and you don't have to earn it all in 1 year.
No.
When Pony Up, they let you,
Yeah,
that's what
correct.
I'm saying,
You
they
could-
keep it and invest it.
Again, I think it'd be a awesome way to promote more outdoor activity.
And I think we're giving that park
young
more
kids.
attention with this. We've got stop signs and crosswalks. I think that's investing in that neighborhood.
Those daycare kids would be psycho.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So maybe those daycare providers won't quit.
Yeah.
Because that's our problem.
I think that there was one in Frankfurt closing down, I saw.
Oh, yeah, and there's she's having a
Having an
big
auction.
auction.
Too bad.
So that's
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So those are the items that we discussed. I think that was, covered it all. It was a big meeting, but, yeah, I mean, I think that we got a lot out of it, and
Yeah.
more specifically with the contract, I think that we'd like to
Yeah.
obviously address that.
Yeah, I think the contract was the only thing that we really brought that we've already done the action on. Other than that, it was a lot of discussion. We're kind of moving on and, yeah, good things afoot.
I think we can gather more information on this and just proceed as a goal, I think.
Yeah.
Let us know how the meeting tomorrow goes. I'd be interested in hearing.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's gonna be a bit of pressure on us to jump on board, but like we've said, this is a good long-term goal, but it's not the highest priority. We have other amenities that are gonna take priority amongst the amenities.
They're still pushing for 2024,
I
so.
think we should put it in this year's budget. So,
Oh, ask them how much they'd be willing to kick in then.
yeah, 100% grant would be just great.
Sweet.
So yeah, I don't think there was anything else.
No.
Parks and Rec, do we have?
Do we have an item on finance? No.
I didn't think so, did we?
We had a street, but we already brought it up.
Yeah, we already
Yeah,
discussed the
was
street
the one
committee.
Right before,
Yeah, we didn't do an
admin-
admin finance.
right before the
Been a long
street,
3
we had
weeks.
an admin and finance just to finalize the contract details with One Marysville.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
We
'cause it was
did.
the same
Well,
night.
you
That's
were
why it felt
there.
like one
I went
meeting.
boom, boom, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
yeah.
So yeah, we did finalize contract details with One Marysville at an admin and finance committee meeting. Other comments? Since you remember it better than anyone else.
Yeah, you
No,
remember
there
we had
was
it.
just, there was just a couple little sections that needed fine-tuned and some words that needed changed, but other than that,
Yeah, they were gonna
I don't know if
take
we
it
set up
back.
another meeting or not. I think they were gonna take it to their attorney.
They were gonna
and-
take it to their,
There
Yeah,
was a lot of discussion around funding.
Yeah.
How that was gonna,
how that was gonna work.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
long-term stability of funding.
Because basically, if they only get the 80,000, that's convention and tourism have gotten, and what about the money from Chamber Main Street on that contract? Are they still gonna get that? Yeah, see, so that's what they were wanting.
right, no, it has to, because that's all that's in transient guest right now. We might not even get 80,000 this year in transient guest tax. So it's kinda hard to give that away if you're not gonna get it.
So,
Okay. I think that was all the committee meetings we had. I said that before.
Oh, are you sure?
I'm not sure, but I think. Okay, next up we have appointments and wage determinations. I don't see anything for that. City attorney is not here tonight. Does anyone see need for an executive session? Okay. Go to council comments. Lori?
okay. Eddie's Barber Shop. I got an email about there not being a ramp accessing the building. That is not on the city, correct? That's on the business owner. That's what I thought, but I wanted to clarify so that everybody heard that it's on the business owner, not the
And
city.
in his case, it's gonna be very difficult, cause it'd be obstructing the street.
Yeah,
It's almost impossible,
yeah.
cause you
So,
can't get enough angle.
Yeah.
On obstructing the sidewalk.
I think that's all I got. Ladies' night was a success. We had fun.
We heard.
It was rowdy. There were people in town to do bicycle stuff, and they were like, what the heck has happened to this town? I wish you'd been close. I just pointed at you and had him go talk to you.
Should've,
Ringleader.
should've. I'm not the ringleader, but I would've talked to him.
How many people participated, do you know?
2-something.
225, I think.
Yeah, it's close to 225. Yeah, I mean, we had people from Frankfurt, there was 2 ladies that showed up that night from Washington that said, oh, we didn't have anything going on and we heard about this, so we thought we'd come over and check it out.
Great.
Like, we had people from everywhere. It was awesome.
I think there were people just driving around to see all the biker babes, so.
Yeah. Well, I think honestly, checking people in, there was probably 75% of the names on that check-in list that I had never seen before.
That's
Like,
really
I didn't
good.
know that people.
Well, there was like no parking downtown.
Yeah,
I mean, it
that's
was
awesome.
hopping. It's a good
Yeah,
thing.
that's good for our
A lot of
businesses.
husbands pulling their hair out with the kids all night, I bet.
They're half theirs.
But it's one night a year, they can figure it out.
Oh,
And it was
yeah.
Not
really nice out
babysitting
back.
when they're your kids.
All right,
They
all
had
right,
it
all
set
right.
up for the band and stuff out back was really
Was it?
Very good.
Good. Well, the weather was pretty good too.
It was,
That
yeah.
That always helps.
Yeah, it wasn't 105 degrees.
Yeah,
That's right.
thank goodness.
All right, anything else, Laura?
Nope.
Sheree?
Nope.
Colleen?
I have one thing, and it's passed, but somebody cornered me about it, that someone tried to tell them that the council requested Go Car Wash to come to town. And I said, no, we did not. The only thing we did was wrote a letter to KDOT to let them keep the other opening. So I just wanted that out there to the public. I think that's all. I don't think I have anything else.
And if anybody has questions on the discussions around that, I believe all those minutes are online.
Yep.
So they can
Yeah.
definitely go dig those up. Because somebody had asked me at one point, and I went back and dug them up.
Yeah.
So. Jeff?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Okay. Ooh.
Sorry, I do have a
Chris.
couple. So, Josh, on 10th and Calhoun, somebody reported a tree or shrub right on the corner that's blocking the visibility of the intersection from being able to carry on without. And then on 9th and May, said a stop sign was blocked by some greenery of some sort. And I think that's it.
Did you let Will know already?
What's that?
Did you let Will know already?
No, I
about
haven't.
this? Okay.
I do have one more thing. Somebody texted me about blocking the intersection. At 5th and 6th on Alston Street. And then they also.
Greenery blocking vision or stoplight? What?
Just vision, the trees.
The trees?
Drop.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
We've sent some letters, so I don't know if we've done those.
This is when the
Okay.
trees start to get heavy and really droop. And,
When they're-
yeah.
You said lower.
5th to 6th in Alston?
Yeah,
Okay.
just down the street from my house.
Okay.
So,
Sorry, I did have one more thing.
Okay.
anyway, and also, they thought, Malarnick was gonna be on the agenda for tonight. Where are we with that?
It's still in his hands.
It's, yeah, he said he had to get them to drop the case so that we could refile under the new owner.
Can we make sure he's got information for us at the next council meeting about that, probably?
Because they said he's still burning, but after 10 o'clock at night. Yeah. So what can be done about that?
Have the neighbors put a sprinkler system up with a motion sensor on it.
We can increase penalties. It's about the only tool we'd have is increase penalties and crank the pressure up, but I don't, because it's just, it's the same thing. It's been the same thing for like, what, 8 years?
Yeah.
How long? Yeah.
I don't think he was burning when he was up
Yeah.
there.
Oh, he
Yeah,
was.
he
Oh, was he?
Oh, he
Okay.
was.
He
I
was.
could see his trash fire from my house.
Oh.
I just couldn't smell it.
So anyway, okay, that's all I have.
But, I know we had talked about the sewer water thing. I think we were waiting on changing a bunch of codes and doing it, looking at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But there's time constraints with one specific person that are trying to get this done, and they're waiting on that decision. So if we can get that discussed and figured out.
As far as
sooner
the
better.
connection and
The
division of
separate
lots.
connections to garages and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, did we discuss it as a committee? Was that a committee discussion or was that a
I think
council?
that was open meeting.
Was that an open
Yeah,
meeting
it was,
discussion?
yeah. I don't know if it needs to go to committee to hash it out and then bring it to council or
That should
what.
probably go to the committee,
The
shouldn't it?
water and sewer? Okay, let's send that to committee.
Because it'll matter, part of it has to change the ULDC,
Right.
Yeah.
because if they do lot splits, the county doesn't have to tell us, so they split the lots and we don't know.
You only-
And then we don't know if the garage is split off from the house, if it's still attached to the house's sewer. We don't know,
The only way
which
we-
makes it a nightmare.
Yeah, the only thing we do is put a requirement on them to notify us.
And I don't
So
know
then
if
they
they
would
will
be
or
in
not.
violation
Yeah,
if they didn't notify us.
Because, I mean, but those are all ULDC changes, which are
That's what we're talking about,
way deep. Yeah.
really going through holistically at some point, because there's a lot of things.
We have to do that.
Who was on that
Or
committee?
do.
Water, sewer? I don't, without looking, I don't know.
Well, let me know if I am and if I need to be at the meeting.
I don't know. I just know that when we talked about it originally here, it's gonna be long and involved. It's not a small, it's not like something we could do in a month and at a meeting. I mean, it's gonna take a
Year.
long.
Water and sewer is Chris, Jeff, Kevin.
Yeah, it's gonna be I mean, if somebody wants to build now, it's not gonna happen that fast.
No,
It can't happen that fast.
it's already built, we're just waiting on a decision to see what their next steps are.
And we'll have at least 2 committee meetings to report on next council meeting. Do you have anything else, Chris?
That's it for me, sorry.
The only thing I have is no more than I asked a question about the Verizon tower being built, and I saw an excavator down there, and I
Yes.
don't know if that's
Okay.
cool.
They told us they're gonna start in August now.
Close.
Yeah, I did see an excavator.
That's all I have.
Good luck with that, because Hanover's has been up for a long time and there's no equipment up top.
We want a special meeting for the electricity's in.
At Hanover?
Yeah, I did it.
Good study.
Yeah. Okay.
And they had told somebody 36 months before that one would be
As
operational.
long as they start building, I think we start getting rent, so it's okay.
Yeah, I mean,
As long as
that,
they dig a hole, we're good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Kevin?
it was, I was in, talking to Josh earlier, our rate study book that we got, the big book online and stuff, instead of doing it at a regular council meeting and dragging out an hour and a half or two.
Yeah.
we have
Do a special meeting? Yeah,
Yeah.
we talked about that. That's what I was just getting ready to bring up. Was maybe we should do a special meeting to do that, go over that rate study report and do some discussing. I don't know what kind of timing we're thinking.
We did look at, we'd have to call him, but we did look to see that there's nothing on the schedule for Monday the 19th in this room. That'd be next Monday. Or Wednesday the 28th following that, but then you're gonna start getting into, Labor Day weekend.
I think,
Nothing the 19th.
I was gonna say, I think a week from tonight's probably as clean as anything.
It'd probably
If it
be
works
good
for
to get a
28th
couple
on
dates, and then that way we can reach out to him.
19th,
The
28th, no.
19th, the 28th,
28th, I'm
no,
out.
okay, so the 19th for sure, that we can ask him about.
Let's just
when
get
he
a
can
couple
come.
dates. and
Because his
do it.
father passed away, so we couldn't,
Oh,
that's why he isn't here tonight.
okay.
That's, yeah,
He didn't
yeah.
want him here, I mean, it'd drag us.
This would have been a long
Yeah.
meeting. It's
Yeah.
already kind of not the shortest one, but, okay. So yeah, if you wanna, I mean, the 19th.
Do you have
and a couple-
another suggestion besides the 19th? If 19th is ideal, we can try for sure, but just in case,
And what time is right away, 5:30, or?
I'd rather
Is
go
that Wednesday?
5:30.
yeah?
I can pretty much make anything work.
The
I think the
19th.
21st is
would work
court.
well. Oh,
Yeah, it's the second,
that's right.
or third Wednesday, I mean.
No, I mean, we could maybe,
So otherwise, we're talking about
hate to
Tuesday,
move it when it's
Thursday.
What, Thursday, the 22nd?
No. Well, yeah,
That's a
I won't
hard
be
no.
here.
Tuesday, the 20th?
I can't do
I
that.
work every Tuesday, so I'm out on that day.
I'd just get some dates from him
Yeah.
and
And
shoot him.
see,
Yeah, get-
shoot them out to you?
And then, like, we individually respond back.
Yes, yes,
Don't
please.
reply all.
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay.
But please look at your email tomorrow, that way we can,
Right. And we'll try for
Scheduled
the
right away,
19th if
so.
we can get that.
and we'll try 5:30, that way get it right away.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Because it's gonna last 2 hours.
Yeah.
I hope not, but maybe. But we wanted the public to know, because it is all about water rates. So if they want to come and hear this from him, it would be great for them to be able to come so we could notify the public.
And are we going to televise it? I know we don't always on special meetings.
We don't, but we
But I
maybe
think
could
this
this
would
one,
be a
just
good one.
because
Yeah, I think this
it's
might be
what
good.
this is, maybe,
I think that,
we could try.
yeah.
I think
That
it's
way
a
if
good
people
idea,
can't
actually.
come, especially 5:30 is difficult for some
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
obviously. Okay. I just had a couple things.
That day,
The gas company I noticed has come and I think gotten maybe all the holes in town fixed in the alleys finally.
I planted my own grass.
I was gonna
have
say,
you
what
been
was
down
that?
by my
I
house?
planted,
They
I
didn't
threw,
plant it?
no, that was just mud, so I had grass seed, so I just threw it
That's
out
what I was
there and
gonna
it's.
ask, is if anybody knew if they had finished it or had not
I don't think
finished
they've been
it.
down by my house yet.
They're still working their way across town. Okay.
I've seen them forming up stuff.
They do pretty good concrete work.
Yeah, they do.
I've been legitimately impressed. They know what they're doing, so that's good.
And some of the other alleys, you know, they're putting the concrete in and they're throwing asphalt over the top of it.
Oh, really? Well, I know that they cut the edges clean where they did the holes because they chipped away from wear and things, and so they obviously they care, which is nice.
Are they done with the gas lines now?
They don't have all the connections then. It's a big project. It's a
Yeah.
lot of connections. And each one takes a day, pretty much, so it
Yeah,
just takes
it is.
forever. This is kind of I guess, I want to say a barrel of worms. I think I'm mixing metaphors. 12th Road. I get more calls about 12th Road than probably any single thing in this town. And I know we're close to getting to where we're going to go out for bids on 11th, and we're going to get 11th taken care of. I think no time like the present to come up with plans for a funding mechanism to start on that, like next year. I mean, we need to just bite the bullet and start the project because it is awful. It's going to get worse. We've talked about it ad nauseum. We need to, I think, get
Yeah, we need to
plans
follow through.
inked and wheels in motion pretty much, this year, yes, but even this summer, this fall.
Do we have engineering on any of it?
BG has some, I don't know how far they are.
Yeah.
We can check into it.
I was gonna say, if we
Yeah.
can, I think that's kind of one of those, I feel like we should have that on every agenda until we've got things happening.
Yeah.
Because it's the thing that I think people care about tremendously. High priority, the highest priority.
The highest.
When I get every single media release from the governor and the Department of Commerce,
Capturing that money.
and the amount of money that has gone out in the last 2 years to communities our size or smaller for projects like that is unreal, and why we're not getting our spoon in that bowl just drives me nuts. I mean, there's money going out to communities who do that Keystone and 12th Road all at the same time. But we're gonna have to it's not gonna be us finding that funding source. We're gonna have to be creative, work with the planning commission or whatever.
North Central, they're on it. I mean, I did talk to them about looking, if they could.
And it's
get it
not just to
forward.
do the structure, it's, safe road projects. Well, you have a road that's not safe for a school bus, we'll give you, here's some federal money to help do those kind of things.
Yeah.
Well, we used to, I don't know how many years ago it was now, on the back of the agendas was a ongoing projects list. And I think it got to where we kind of started ignoring it and it eventually just went away. I think we should kind of get back to
I like
doing
that.
that and
You'll
have
have to follow through.
maybe if it's only 3 things, but every time we meet, where are we at on this? So that way we don't let it slip. And I'm as guilty as anyone. I've been here a while. I'm telling you, I'm not passing the buck. It gets off my radar. I don't live on 12th Road. Other priorities come up and we get back burnering on it. But I think we gotta do it. We gotta just keep hitting it every blessed council meeting until we get there.
I agree.
So-
I like it.
Cause now that you mix the chickens in with the potholes, it's a challenge out there.
What chickens?
Why would you put chickens in potholes?
Just go for a drive some evening about 4 o'clock, 4:30.
So someone's got chickens out there?
Well, Jeff, one thing at a time. We're talking about 12th Road, let's not talk about chickens
City
tonight.
limits?
Yeah, it's in the city limits.
Well, anyway.
Not all of it, some of it is.
That's a problem for another night. But anyway, I'd say we kind of get back onto where we're at on that, and we just keep hitting the heck out of it every meeting. If everybody's cool with that.
Yes.
Another thing that I've been ruminating on for, 6 months, 9 months, a while, I kind of liked the idea last fall, and I haven't done anything with it, is I'd like to get the youth of this community more involved, which I think everyone says that, but how do you do that? So what I'd like to do is I'd like to have, whether it's a youth committee, a youth council, a youth advisory group, however you want to phrase it, how formal you want to make it. I've kind of reached out to the school about it. I'd like to see whether it's junior high or high school kids. I mean, they feel so disaffected. It's the rare ones that come in here and ask us for prom walk or for the tractor and truck shows and things. But they care and they feel like, no, nobody listens, nobody cares sort of thing. But there's a core group of them that I really think would jump at the chance to do it. And it would make them invested and it would let them be a little bit of a liaison with kind of what the young people want. And so I don't know how formal it needs to be, how formal the council would want it to be. I mean, I'd love to have just an advisory group telling me what they think, but I'm okay with the idea of us creating something more formal than that.
Yeah.
I'd like to get the opinions if that's.
Sorry, is there any cities that anybody can think of that has something like that we could get?
Lots of large cities.
Lots of big cities too, but I mean, we want to retain these kids. We want them to be like, oh, I mean, we want them to be here.
Well, yeah, they're
up
the
here
future of
in
this.
20 years or even 10 years, some of them, you know. I think this is kind of the way we get there, and I think it'd be good for the kids too. Those specific kids, it'd be good for them. So, I mean, the mechanisms of how we get there, I'm not sure. Do we need to have it a formal committee like we have other, like the Kester Block Committee or the Commission Tourism?
I think it would be a good idea to do that, and we could call it like the youth council, or we could just call it a youth board,
council or
you know?
something like
Have
that.
a Kester Block Advisory Board, you
It'd
have
be a board, yeah.
a tree board, you have a,
And then they could make formal recommendations to council and be expected to
So
bring something each month if they have something.
and we could structure it the same as the other ones where you nominate
they're
and
really
then the
busy at
council,
school.
it's by approval of council.
And they could meet here and,
Is this something we could bring to Wayne's attention?
Well, I'm sure he'd be happy to help promote it. I mean, I think there's
But if
a
it's
lot
about
of.
the city, it needs to be.
It needs to be
you guys.
us doing it, but
It needs
but
to
I
be you
think
guys.
it could get to be where they come to us with projects for ideas we don't see.
Well,
He's got
they
some
have the world
creative
at their
ideas.
fingertips.
Yeah.
I
The-
can barely get through this thing.
So do we need
the
a couple
back to
people to go to
school,
school?
the
during
back to school
assembly?
event is this Thursday.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, with the
And
start of the
so-
school year, this is kind of why I'm bringing it.
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, I can mention it to some teachers at the event, so.
And, I mean, talk to Darren Schrader and.
Cause I assume it would be by recommendation from the school who would be included, but then recommendations
I was gonna
to,
say, I would be
the
careful
mayor.
with
Well,
that.
I would
I
too,
think it
because
needs
you
to be
get the
open,
same,
Yeah, I mean, I was a big troublemaker in school, I wouldn't have been recommended, so.
I would think, I don't know.
And-
In my mind, I had it kind of like them going through the election process, you know?
Oh,
And-
well,
But I don't know
and
if
maybe
that's-
we kind of, and we can change it as it goes, but I think if we start, how many people are on the Kester House board? 6? 8?
Well, even let it go through the school counselor and let it be
Yeah.
a selection
Right.
process.
Right.
I just don't want it to be the same kids.
Interested people that wanna be involved.
Yeah, I'd be okay with
Submit a
nominations,
paragraph
but
saying why I'd like to be involved.
I want us to have the final say.
Yeah.
So
I want to
that
get
would
some
be
kids
really
who are
good
outliers.
If they would just
Yeah.
send, just what you just said, if
A
a kid is
resume.
interested, we'll put it out there if the kid's interested.
Yeah.
Let them send it to you guys, and then you guys vet
And-
it and kind of see what you.
Let the school counselors kinda.
And to be honest with you, there's gonna be kids who would probably be great at it that are gonna be reticent to do it.
Okay.
And may take a little bit of like, hey, look, this is what's in it for you. I
But a
mean,
counselor may
Something
push them
good.
and
True.
and help them say, hey, you know, I think you'd be good
they
at
can
this.
put it on, I mean, they can put it on scholarships and other things too. So I mean, there are benefits to them to be involved. But I've been approached by a couple kids who are more like just keyed up on politics and things and think it's like, man, you know, how can I be involved?
Oh.
I was like, I got an idea, give me some time. So, I mean, I don't know if we want to draft something or try to crib off of some other cities' board or
yeah, it wouldn't be too hard.
drop something and kind of formalize it. But yeah, if you want to start that process, that'd be great.
You don't have enough to do anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking about the meetings that we'll have to have regularly too, with the staff that's gonna be there.
No, I think I mean, it'd be a good opportunity to draw more of them in and
Oh, that's a good idea.
I think it'd be cool.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I had was, National Night Out went off stupendously. Chief Simpson did a great job and his crew, per usual. It's an asset to the community. I know a lot of people came to town and really thought that was great. We have a lot of good people running our departments, so much appreciated. Yeah, they'll do that. So, yeah. All right. Does anybody else have anything that needs to come before council?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded to adjourn. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?